Hello and welcome to the Local Marketing Live. And today I'm going to share with you how to showcase your local expertise with the help of AI. And this is actually the process that I use to turn an honest conversation with AI into a week's worth of content, with the objective to build trust with my local audience, with my customers, with the community, so they get a sense of my values, my character, my experiences, how I've delivered for others in the past. All that starts to build towards an element of trust. So then when you or another business owner on the Sunshine Coast is ready to sign up for a marketing clarity session or to sign up for a new website or to participate in one of our buy local campaigns, they trust me to know that I can deliver on that promise. And I do that through the content that I share, not only just through the local marketing live stream, but obviously, as you know, through our monthly networking events, our daily newsletters, and the other pieces of content that I share. So I thought that today is a perfect day to walk you through one of the steps that I use to help, particularly in the preparation for these live streams, so you can replicate it for your business. And what's cool about this is, as you know, there's so much wisdom and knowledge out there, particularly in your field of expertise. And the temptation is to go, oh, well, there's so much information already out there. Do they really need another voice, right? Do I really need to, because surely they already have access to this. But truthfully, they don't, right? They're not as engaged in this type of content as you are, right? You're like myself, you're listening to podcasts, you're reading books, you're watching YouTube videos, you're attending webinars, you're going to expos and trade conferences. You're making sure because you're professional, so you're making sure that you're staying in touch with what's going on within your industry. Plus, you're delivering, right? So day in, day out, you're working with customers. You're seeing this stuff happen in action, in real time. So you're taking your knowledge, you're turning it into expertise, into experience that you can then share. And one of the things that people are really calling out for is to take all this kind of world knowledge and localize it and make it relevant to them. As someone living here on the Sunshine Coast, got a place in Budgerum, I've got some concerns, I'm trying to figure something out, and who is it in my local community that I can go to that's accessible, right? That I can see at local events, that I can follow online, I can catch up with them for a cup of coffee, I can give them a call and they'll answer. That accessibility becomes a real competitive edge for the local expert. So today I'm going to walk you through a little bit more about the strategy behind this idea of showcasing your local expertise. I'm going to share with you a prompt guide that you can use with your chosen AI to help you prepare for this, whether it's a live stream or a newsletter or whatever your chosen expression is of your local expertise. A little bonus prompt in there as well that I think you find quite helpful. And of course, all of the resources I'm sharing today will be available, or part of it's already available on the website. So I'm going to share my screen so we can jump straight into it. Oh, and as I do, if you do have any questions, feel free to drop it into the chat or send me an email, direct message, and happy to respond to them. Alrighty. Cool. So here's the stat that, for those who've been following me for some time, I actually found quite surprising. So for a few years now, I've been sharing this stat that 2 out of 3 adults are unsure what's real and what's fake online. This report from just last month says that number now is 85%, which means we've gone from 2 out of 3 to closer to 9 out of 10 adults can no longer tell what's real online, right? Leading into this, which I think is very important, is only 8% of us fully trust AI. So if you are, posting a lot of content on your socials and on your newsletter, and it's purely AI generated, right, you may actually be losing people's confidence. It may actually having a negative on your brand, actually having a negative effect on people's trust around you as a local authority. Because when content becomes, just noise, then people won't react or respond to it in the way that you think. And a really nice kind of check on the work that you do is to ask yourself this question: would you follow you? Right? It's a little hard hitting. Like, would I actually follow me? Would I click like? Right? Would I follow the content that I'm sharing? Do you read your own content? Right? That's another interesting question too, because you'd be surprised if, for those who have gone too far down the automation path, where they might just have completely set and forget their content and actually not keeping an eye on what's being shared and isn't actually helping to provide or showcase, my expertise so people feel much more comfortable in working with us. Because if it's not, it may actually be having the opposite effect and eroding trust with your audience. And this, pretty clear. The vast majority of this, we want verified human experiences, reviews, because that's quite a valuable thing, right? So this now presents the opportunity for you to be the local, right? Your community's trusted source for quality information. So even though you might be sharing information or reinterpreting information from other sources that you get access to, you become the point person for your local community. That's the opportunity, right? Is to be the local voice, right? To be the local representative. The personal brand is very important now for local businesses because it does personalize you, makes you more human. That's how we start to determine trust. If you hide behind your corporate brand, I don't know your values, I don't know your character, I don't know your expertise and experiences, how you make decisions, your approach to service. It creates a lot of doubt, and I'm more likely to go with someone where that clarity has been provided, where I feel clearer on terms of who I'm going to work with and what I'm going to get in return. Some level of certainty of outcome. So that becomes the opportunity. So, the ideas don't have to be completely original, right? It's about your translation of it. Google AI, what they're looking for is this like intelligence gain or information gain when you're releasing content. So is it unique and helpful for the audience that you're serving? And the way you make it unique and helpful is your judgment, your stories, your experience, translating it locally. That's how you make it feel novel, right? So translate it, right? Take those big ideas that have been discussed within your industry, ground it locally, add your judgment and your stories. But I also do recommend credit where credit's due. So if you are getting it from a very specific source, let people know, hey, you can actually trust this person because I do, right? This is where I learn from. This is where I get really great advice from, and I invite you to do the same. I'm gonna do exactly that, right? So let me, I'll just put this website over here. And it loads, right? So this, what I'm sharing with you today, adapted from Wes McDowell, right? So here's someone I've been following on YouTube for years. Big fan of his YouTube channel. I've done some of his free classes and courses as well. And he specializes in helping local businesses put together a YouTube strategy that helps to derive trust within their audience and their potential customers that leads to higher conversions on their website. And coming from someone who used to be, still is, I guess, a website developer. So I recommend following him. So yeah, very, very powerful, right? And this is kind of where it all ticks together. So content, show up consistently with generally useful expert material, right? That's the content piece. And it's all designed to help build your brand. So consistency compounds into authority and recognition. That brand then translates to trust, right? Know, like, and then trust. And that trust is an authority, earns the trust that AI can't fake. But trust is something that's earned over time, right? It's not guaranteed, it's not insured. It's something that you demonstrate through your expertise, through your stories, through your character, through your reputation, what other people say about you. All those things feed into, can I trust this person? Because trust is a big deal, right? When you make that decision to trust someone, there is a level of like you're giving something up in order to do that. So it's something that we are very cautious about when we make the decision to trust, because it means that we can be hurt as a result, right? In some way, some harm can be caused if we make the choice to trust. So when that decision is made, it's a big one, right? And if you've got it, it's incredible, right? That if someone's made the choice to trust you. And that trust then leads to conversion. So when they're ready to buy, so like in my instance, when they're ready to jump on for marketing clarity session, ready for a new website, or ready to participate in one of my buy local campaigns, they go, yeah, I get who Luke is. I get what he's trying to do. I get his approach. I'm in. Right? So the trick here, right, so this is kind of a change of approach, right? So most of us, when we're using AI, we're prompting AI to deliver the artifact, right? So write me a post about blah, blah, blah. I don't want you to do that, right? I want you to get the AI to prompt you, right? You're the expert, right? So get AI to operate as the interviewer, right? So it's going to ask you about your stories, opinions, and local judgment, and then turn that into content. So this is the workflow, right? Adapted from Wes here. So you're using AI to research the topics, right? So what are the right topics that suit you or that people are talking about? Maybe it's come from the networking events that you've gone to. Maybe it's come from the different discussions you've been having in your own strategy calls with your clients. Or there's a general theme or trend in the materials that you're watching online. Maybe there's some recent news that have come out that people are looking for your judgment on, stuff like changes in the tax laws, that's happening in Australia at the moment, around capital gains tax and what the impact of that might be in different industries, what opportunities that might create, that type of stuff, all right? So AI can help you with the research. You then get focused in on a topic that works for you. Then you get the AI to interview you and have it so it operates as a real interviewer. Right? It's really kind of challenging you, asking questions. It's looking for stories. It's looking for examples of where you've been successful, your judgment, where it doesn't work. Like it's really operating as a proper interview. Then it takes that transcript and then deepens the research, right? So in other words, it goes and looks for the research, the articles that can help complement what you're sharing. So the stats that I shared at the start of this live stream, that came from the deepening the research, right? So yeah, I've got some couple of stats that I might be able to record, but getting the latest and greatest keeps it on trend, keeps it authoritative, and really helps to tell the story. Then you can get AI, whether you're using Claude, Cowork, or ChatGPT's new app, their new work function where you can create tasks. You now get the AI to now then build out the full slide deck and provide all your speaker notes, and even help you with the promotional materials to go with it. So whether that's a slide deck or the article, the newsletter, or whatever the artifact is that it's been producing, and complementary content. So, you can see here, the slide deck was made by AI, right? The prompt guide that I'll show shortly came from AI as well. And then all the promo bundles as well, that's come out to help me promote it. So for me, the AI knows that with the newsletters that I do, I introduce what I'm talking about today. And then the second half of it's what I shared last week so people can catch up on it. It even is connected to my Canva, so it creates the thumbnails and the posts as well. So, it's a nice streamlined process to help kind of create all this stuff. And then also after the stream, as you know, I then turn it into an article that I can share across my website and socials. And in the process of clipping these as well, and I'll be sharing those on my TikTok and Instagram and that as well. So that's how you turn one recording, one honest conversation into a week's worth of content. So it's a very cool formula. So this is kind of the reinforcing thing, right? Don't ask AI to write, ask it to interview you. That's the key strategy here. So what I might do versus going through more of the PowerPoint, I was going to share with you the prompt guide. Let's bring this over here. Right, and just use these prompts, right? So it gives you a little bit of context at the background here, this guide, and then just use the prompts one at a time, right? And your AI might already know a bit about your business and your ideal customer. Great, just refer to it. Otherwise, just drop this straight in, right? Hey, you're my content strategist. I run Buy Local Sunshine Coast on the Sunshine Coast, serving local business owners, mostly service providers, home and professional service providers. Help me choose one topic worth creating content about this week. First, ask me what I've been hearing from customers lately, then suggest 5 topic angles, right? Now, if you don't have anything here, and this is what you've been hearing from customers lately, you can then ask it to just do more broader research. Hey, I want you to go on the internet and search for what topics are trending in my area. So you can flip that just a little bit. And then for each, give me a one line why this matters to my audience to then help me pick the sharpest one to lock in for a single clear angle, not a vague thing, right? So great way to kind of kick off. That will then get you the topic. And the topic will be something where you feel like, you know what, I've got an angle to take on that one. I've got a story to share, something that I've been delivering for quite a while. I feel pretty comfortable about landing with that topic. Then the second one, right? So once you've got land on the topic, then you give it this prompt. You're an expert content interviewer. I run Buy Local Sunshine Coast, and I want to create generally expert content on the topic that you've identified for an audience of, and then repeat your ideal customer. Interview me one question at a time to draw out my real expertise, my opinions, my stories, the specific local examples, and the mistakes I see people make. Make things only I would know. That's the key, right? Because we're trying to translate this for your advice. So give it some rules. Don't write any content yet. Don't accept any vague answers. So it's meant to push back, clarify, right? Like a real interviewer will. And then around 8 to 10 questions, and it'll kind of give it guidance on like to determine whether it has enough to move forward or it's going to keep asking more questions. So this might take 10, 15 minutes. I actually like to use audio versus typing, because I think when we type, we self-filter a little bit. So we overthink it. We obviously write better than we speak at times. So putting on the mic and just telling it straight will actually give it a better sense of your voice, because a little bit more raw, it's a little bit more uncut, actually lead to a more insightful show notes. You can actually use some really good quotes that you may use, a couple of nuggets of wisdom. So that way it feels more uniquely used. So I do recommend using the voice mode versus typing in your responses to these questions, as if you're having a real interview with someone from a magazine, right? Then when it's completed the interview, then you ask it to back it up with evidence. So now you're going to ask it to, based on the transcript, go do the research. Make sure it's citing its resources, the dates, make sure it's doing a really good job of reinforcing what you've shared with the external research. I do think this step's really important because it does give your content more authority, and it also helps to balance out what you're sharing as well, to help tell the story. So I actually think the balance of two is really good. And it kind of hits the emotional nerve as well as the logical nerve, and it just feels more authoritative by having a couple of recent stats. So that's the prompt 3. Then it then takes, obviously, from the interview transcript, whatever it knows about the topic, the interview transcript and the research, and then pulls together the whole kind of bundle, right? So it might be your live stream, it might be your article. This one you might need to refine a little bit to make sure it's tailored to you, and make sure it's been creating the slides, creating the deck, doing all those things that will help you then deliver what it is that you want to deliver. So this you might just need to refine just a little bit to make sure it fits with how you choose to express your local expertise. And then the other bonus prompt that you might want to use, and this one you might want to use in replace of the first prompt, right? So prompt 5 actually you might use instead of prompt 1 is around translating a big idea. So something that you've come across in the news, podcast, YouTube video, whatever it might be, and using that as the starting point before you then kick off into prompt 2, right? Now, after you've done this, I'll just highlight there so you can go and check it out. I said I really like this. I think localizing the thought leaders in the industry, very, very powerful. So definitely do check this out as a replacement to the first one. But then once you've done this once, maybe twice, you can then ask your Claude or ChatGPT to then turn this into a skill, right? And a markdown file that helps to walk you through it. So that way you don't have to repeat these prompts every time. It understands the workflow, and then you just kind of kick it off like, hey, Mr. Claude, or hey, Mr. ChatGPT, I'm going to get ready for my next live stream. Let's start the process. And it knows to do the research. Great, we've got it. Let's move to this. And it'll automatically start interviewing you. Great, do the interview. Automatically then creates the deck. Great. So it just works with you. So I love that of turning, you do this once, turn it into a skill that you can just, kick off every time you need to. So it's really, really cool. Now, I was thinking about doing a live demo, but it'll take too long because this whole process here probably takes about 20 minutes with the AI. And if you're turning on, if you're going from, say, Sonnet to Opus or even Fable, it can take even longer as it puts more effort into the research and kind of in creating the content. So I just recommend jumping on and just having a play, right, and adapting it as you need to. But if you do need a little help, feel free. I think I've got it here. By all means, feel free to book in a marketing clarity session, and we can use that session to focus in on for you. How do we create this and set this up for you in your Claude or ChatGPT? Happy to do that. I'll just close that. Bring up the slides again. Cool. Great. So we've gone through that, right? As I said, for me, it just really did help streamline this whole process. So I feel really good about kicking off every week now, to the point where I'm even considering doing this twice a week. I've got a lot to share, a lot of stories to share. So you may see in a month's time, I go from once a week to twice a week with the live streams because I really enjoy doing this. I get this question too a lot. Actually, I thought it was helpful addressing, isn't AI content just cheating? And again, it depends on how much of you goes in, is kind of my view. Using AI as a tool to help you with the workflow and help to kind of pull more out of you, I actually think is the best way to use this stuff. If you are just kind of prompting it, getting the first draft, dropping it into your thing, then you're not really adding any value to the world's knowledge, right? You're not, the idea of that information gain or intelligence gain for Google or AI, you're just not doing that, right? Whereas using AI to interview you, that's not cheating, man. That's using this process to get the most out of it. And the quality content that comes out of it, it's just superior, right? More you in it. So never let it fabricate. So you want to make sure that you're checking things so it doesn't hallucinate. The tools are getting much better now at avoiding that, but always helpful to check. Where I do find it can get a little carried away is that if you haven't given it testimonials and stories, it will create some, right? So you want to make sure, that's why I like the interview side, because it's only using what you provide, right? Remember, you are the publisher, right? Which means you're responsible for the content that it produces. So make sure that it is indeed helpful for your audience. Keep yourself in front. So don't automate your voice or face. So though there are software out there where you can create an avatar version of yourself, I think that's a mistake. If the whole point is to build trust with the audience, they should see the real you, right? So I do recommend doing that. And make sure you're the final decision maker, right? I think that these are like really important kind of call outs. So have a crack at it this week. Have some fun with it. As always, for those of you who've watched the live stream, if you use the coupon code LIVE, you'll get a $100 discount to your marketing clarity session. And of course, make sure you're jumping to the website to get all the content from today's live stream. If you've got questions, drop into the comments or into the live chat. Happy to answer them as we go through. And yeah, I'll see you same time next week, Tuesday, 2 p.m. Thank you.